Hey guys, welcome back to chapter 3. In this section, we are going to take the training wheels off. So we're going to step past the orbital diagrams and get into electron configurations. So one last orbital diagram we're going to take a look at here, and then we will look at how that leads us into the next step. So I want you guys to go ahead and fill out this orbital diagram for the following. So let's do it for silicon. All right, so silicon has how many electrons? 14. So silicon has 14 electrons. So we're going to put them into our orbital diagram. Just change my color here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So the orbital diagram is all great and well, but we use as chemists is something called an electron configuration. So it's a list of symbols and numbers that essentially just tell the viewer exactly how we filled in this orbital diagram. So where did we put our first electrons? We put them down here into the 1s orbital. So that's what we're going to write. And then how many electrons did we put in there? We put 2. Then we tell the viewer, where's the next place that I put electrons? Yep, into the 2s. And then I put 2 electrons in there, so that goes as the exponent. And then the next place that I put electrons was in the 2p. And then how many total electrons went into the 2p? There were 6 of them. Next place was 3s. We put 2 of them in there. And then the last place was 3p. Now, p can hold up to 6 electrons, but for this particular element, we only put 2 into that 3p orbital. That's where we ran out. So that's exactly what we're going to say. We put 2. Okay. So this is the electron configuration for silicon. We would read it as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p2. Okay. So why electron configurations? Why can't we just stick with the boxes? Why do we have to do electron configurations? So one, it's a little bit faster, more efficient. So we're not drawing a whole series of boxes. The second thing is that electron configurations can tell us a lot of information. So when we look at the electron configuration for silicon, there's two types of electrons that we can now identify based on this electron configuration. So the first one that we need to identify are something called valence electrons. So these are going to be the stars of the show. This is going to be the most important electrons that we're looking at or interested in moving forward after this chapter. So what are valence electrons? Well, number one, valence electrons are in the highest energy level of a configuration. So we look at this electron configuration. I've got some electrons in the first energy level. I've got some electrons in the second energy level. I've got some electrons in the third energy level. So with the third energy level being the highest energy level in this case, that's where we find our valence electrons, so highest energy level. Why are we so interested in valence electrons? Well, they are the only electrons that are available to bond. They're the only electrons that are available to bond. So, in the silicon, for example, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 electrons in that third energy level. So that means we've got 4 electrons that are available to create a bond with somebody else. All of the other electrons in this configuration, so not in the highest energy level, are what we call core electrons. While core electrons are important and they're there, they are not available for bonding. So we say they are what we call shielded from other atoms. So another atom approaches silicon looking to make a bond. They will not have access to or be able to see these core electrons because they're not in that outermost energy level. Okay? So very important moving forward. We'll need to be able to quickly identify valence electrons in the coming chapters. But for right now, this is just kind of our first introduction to what a valence electron would be. Okay. All right, so we're going to do one more orbital diagram to electron configuration. And this one is going to hit an area where things start to get weird. They start to get a little funky. So let me erase all the stuff on this slide. I want you guys to do the orbital diagram and then electron configuration for selenium, for Se. So take a minute and see if you can write the electron configuration for selenium. All right. So this guy has, how many electrons? 34. Holy moly. So I'm just going to start putting them in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So we've got all 34 electrons onto the paper. All right, now we're just going to tell the viewer how we put those in. So the first one was 1s, and there's 2 of them. 2s, 2 of them. 2p, 6 of them. 3s, 2 of them. 3p, 6 of them. 4s, 2 of them. And then where's the next place that we put electrons? Yeah, 3D. That's kind of weird, right? So we're in this like 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, 3p, 4s, 3D. So that is actually where those electrons go. I'm going to go ahead and write it down, and we'll talk about why in a little bit. So how many electrons did I put into the d orbital? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 of them went in there. And then after that 3D is filled, we go back to the 4p. And then how many did we end up with in there? We ended up with 4 in there. Okay. So first things first, here's our electron configuration for selenium. Just kind of following our path up the orbital diagram. Okay. So looking at how these electrons file in. So it turns out that as we're filling these energy levels, energy level 1 is lower in energy than the second energy level, which is lower in energy than this third energy level. But as we start filling orbitals, excuse me, so we have S, then we have P. After we fill this 3p orbital, the next electron kind of has a choice. So he looks and he says, wow, that 3D, that would be the next place I would go. But that 3D orbital is really chaotic. There's a lot going on. There's 5 different orientations. Let me take a look at this 4s. Oh, it's a sphere. So it turns out that it is lower in energy for the next electron to go into a 4s orbital than it is to go to a 3d. So this costs a little bit more energy. This costs a little bit less energy. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to do the lazy thing, right? So the next electron says, oh, I'm going to go into 4s. The one following that one says, yeah, me too. Now 4s is full. So then the next lowest energy is this 3d. Now we don't have a choice. We got to go fill up the d. Okay. So we have the periodic table actually predicts this very beautifully. But just know this is a kind of an odd, weird trend that continues to happen as we move up. So we would go 4s, 3d, 4p. The next is 5s, then 4d. So this is a trend that continues to happen. And I have a way to help predict this. So if that was like, wow, I'm never going to remember that, we've got ways. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about with this electron configuration is let's identify core electrons and valence electrons. So remember, valence electrons are going to be the electrons in the highest energy level. So take a look at this configuration and see if you can identify the highest energy level. So if you said that the 4th energy level is the highest, you are correct. So here I see electrons in the 4th energy level, N equals 4. But how many electrons are in the 4th energy level? So yep, I've got 4 right here in the P, but where else is a 4? Yeah, right here. So if I'm looking at the valence electrons for selenium, I need to make sure that I consider the electrons that are in the 4p, of course, but I also have to include the electrons that are in this 4s as well. So selenium would have 6 valence electrons. Okay. So looking at the electron configuration, it's not always the last electrons that we put in. It may be a case where we have to look at 2 different spots here. So here's a depiction talking about the same thing. So this guy would have 6 valence electrons, and then all of the other electrons, in this case, are core electrons. So that would be the other 28 electrons. So this is your introduction to electron configurations. In the next video, we're going to kind of take the training wheels completely off. We're not going to look at orbital diagrams anymore. I'm going to teach you how to write an electron configuration using the periodic table. We kind of read it like a book. So that's the next video, is writing electron configurations without the orbital diagrams. I hope you guys found this helpful.